I got to start the recording. So, good morning to Maestro Matthew and Kristin Wardell. I think I forgot to push the record button on the video, so I want to make sure the video had an intro on it.
You got it. Good morning.
So, how you doing?
We're good.
Are you nervous about playing the cello on the air?
I'm a little nervous.
A little nervous? Do you always get nervous? Yeah, well, it looks like. I mean, it sounded like you were nervous when you came in. Are you always nervous?
No.
Not in the bathroom, right? When you play?
Not in the shower. It's all fine.
No. I mean, I when I was little, actually, I really had a problem with stage fright.
Really?
I would get sick to my stomach, literally, before every performance.
You know, you're still little.
But, I've grown up a little bit. No, but I've gotten over that for the most part. You know, some of it still lingers there. It's not quite as bad, you know.
I know, I'll learn how to work these things eventually.
That's good.
Could you tell I bumped it up? You want to know a great place to play in Ocala? A great venue. It's the foyer at the tax collector's office. You would not believe the acoustics.
It's
the acoustics in there. We were busking last week.
Yeah.
And George Albright said, "Why don't you play in here?" We started playing. Went, whoa.
Nice.
This is good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where's that at? Right off of...
where you get your license?
McPherson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right
Gotcha.
in the middle. It's so great.
So we will hear some cello music during this interview, correct? Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming in, and we're kind of asking you to... Do you normally get up early? Are you an early riser?
She's a night nurse, so
yeah.
Oh, my.
she's typically in bed about this time.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Where are you a nurse?
Sheehan's, UF Health.
Oh,
Sheehan's
wow.
in Gainesville. Mm-hmm.
Does the music and your health career ever cross? Do they ever bump into each other? Like, do you ever play in the hospital or anything?
People ask me that all the time, and I haven't
Really?
yet, which is surprising. I need to, though. I've been talking about it forever, and I just need to go do it.
You know, there's all kinds of authors that we've had on who've made a connection between health and music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a real thing, and there's a lot of real scientific studies with music therapy and all that kind of stuff, and actually I think UF has a nice program, a music therapy or arts therapy thing, and we're looking at, I want to do a program and call it Heartstrings, where we send our musicians to the different hospitals and play for people. So we're trying to put that together now.
That is really cool.
That's
Cool.
wonderful.
Do you know, when I was a kid, a funny story, I almost see if you guys relate to this. I always, if I'm in a fight, I want somebody to put on some really good music, because then I think I'll beat the guy up. I think I'll win. I don't, it can't be sad and slow. It's got to be da-da-da-da. It's got to like rock or something.
Right.
Did you have that thought when you were a kid?
Yeah, definitely. When we're working out, when she works out, she plays some pretty interesting music over there.
Really? What do you play?
I don't know.
Oh, like Rite of Spring, just jump, just like gonna go.
Do you know what happens in radio? If you get a job at like a country station, everybody you meet thinks you like country music.
Right.
Like, everybody thinks we like talking.
That's great.
Kind of a crazy thing.
That's good.
So let's talk about the actually upcoming, this coming weekend?
It's this weekend, yeah, three days from now.
Mm-hmm.
And are you nervous? Do you ever get a stage fright? I mean, you've got your back to everybody, so.
Yeah, no one can. I'm crying up there the whole time. I'm freaked out. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine, and I don't really get nervous. I want it to go well. So it's a different. I'm not shaky nervous, but I want to make sure. Are the patrons coming through the lobby okay? Are the musicians happy? Are the lights on? I mean, so all those things that I'm sort of thinking about sort of dwarf the nerve issue. So it's good.
But you said you were crying. I know you were kidding, but
Right.
But does that ever happen? I mean, all right, I'm going to reveal something here. Once in a while, you'll hear a piece of music. Oh man, that is so beautiful.
Oh sure.
Right?
Yeah. I've cried while conducting, but not because of nerve. I mean,
Because of the music
because
itself?
of a particular music or a moment. It's funny when you're up there because you're really in the moment, and I think the musicians feel this way too. You're playing, you're doing your job, but at some point that all kind of goes away, and there's this void, and there's no telling what's going to creep into your thoughts, or what's going to happen. And if there's this beautiful music playing, or if it's music that's been inspired by a very sad story or something, it's
well, and an example would be Silent Night.
Sure.
Last Christmas, because it was the day after the shootings in Connecticut.
It was hours after.
Hours after, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you made the decision to change the show just a little bit because of that. And oh man, you weren't the only ones crying up there.
Yeah. Well, it felt. It's funny. Someone brought that up yesterday. I was just talking about it. It just felt like the right thing to do at that time because we, obviously it's hard, and you do deal with this in show business all the time, but when a tragedy happens, you can't just go on like nothing happened, so you have to recognize it, you should address it.
Right.
And I thought, well, we're musicians, so why don't we sing or play? And that seemed to work well. And then we felt like you could take a deep breath and then try to a little levity and move on.
And the music you guys play, the classical music, really, I don't know if this is corny or not, and it's not really a commentary on other musical forms, but it just seems like your music is closer to God than the others. The others more earthy. Nothing wrong with earthy music.
Sure.
It's just, you know what I mean? Do you guys believe or go along with that at all?
I think.
Or if nothing else, it moves us as listeners to that level.
Well, it gives the listener the opportunity to be moved if they so wish.
I get it.
And it's because, the music, particularly music without text, it can have any thought along with it that you want. I mean, if you just listen to a music and there's no lyric, then you produce the lyric internally, so it has that power, and I do think the art form of classical music, the skill that's required, not in just the playing and performing, but in the composition and the science and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years that have been put into it, there's something there. I mean, it's just like when you go see a great cathedral in Europe or something, and you wonder how long did it take them to build this? Well, they started in 1300 and finished in 1450. I mean, you see these massive structures. To me, that's what classical music is like. It's the best and the brightest of what humans have produced when it comes to art, just because of the work that goes into it.
I think so.
Now, that doesn't mean I don't value most other music, because I do. I think everything has its place, but when we talk about this sort of the core and the strength of it, I think that's what it's in. It's in that history.
And that's one of the most wonderful things that you do before each concert. The people that take you up on your offer to come meet with you, to have a one-on-one with you before the concert, they're very, very lucky, because they get more of an insight into what's going on for that particular performance than if they just attended.
Sure. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We do those chats with Matt an hour before each performance, and we talk a lot about the music. We talk about the composers and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's fun.
We were talking about how the relationship of like folk music to classical music, and there was a musician named Lars Holman, I think. He was an accordion player. We were watching. He's passed away, but he was happy that there was one piece of music. I guess he knew he was dying. There was one piece of music that he composed that people kind of connect with him.
Right.
And he was happy about it. He said, that's very rare. He said, but the truth is, music probably, in folk music, probably happened this way. There's a guy walking down the street, and he hears some beautiful classical music being played through a window.
Right.
And he goes home and he says, oh, let me play that for my wife. And he gets it wrong. But that becomes the piece of music, and it's connected to some classical piece, but now it's kind of shaved down a lot, and it becomes a folk song. It was an interesting observation on his part.
It is interesting.
And I guess he was basically saying that my music is really derived from other music. And
well, I think I've never met Lars, and he's not here anymore, but I think he's very humble. I think folk music and has a special place because it's something that a lot of people can do, and it brings music in the homes and in the households, and it usually expresses sort of the people's what's going on, the verb of what's happening in the world. So I don't know.
If a person would attend your concert in the evening performance and then the next day in the afternoon, more than likely they'll feel something different. Definitely. Yeah, it's funny because Saturday, it's first of all, it's two different crowds, a Saturday night and a Sunday afternoon, but it really is different every time we get together. There's been some performances that we've done when I've done like an opera or a theater production where you do it 6 or 7 times in a week, and each one is really different. You'll do a couple and you go, wow, this is going great. You do a fourth and you go, man, I don't know, I'm really not feeling this, or whatever. You don't know what that is. You don't know if it's that energy of the people, and then maybe the last two, the fifth and sixth or whatever, are great. So it's just the feeling's different. Some feelings, especially in stage productions, you might feel like I'm really the sad part really got to me today, or the happy part really got to me today. And obviously it has to do with us. We're projecting our own sort of emotions onto the music. So
we'll ask some specific questions about the show, but one real quick, just kind of a general question.
Sure.
Like when a rock band is done with their show, there's 4 guys maybe, they go backstage and go, oh man, the audience was awesome tonight.
Yeah.
You got so many more people. Do you get together and say, oh wow, the audience was, and does that happen where the audience is good, and somehow you become good. It's like better.
Absolutely.
Everything lifts at the same time.
And you feel that as a performer. I mean, the bigger the audience, first of all, is good, and then we can tell if they're receptive. And
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you first walk out on stage and you look at the audience, if there's a lot of people there, it really pumps you up and it really gets you excited that so many people are coming here to listen to you and to hear what you have to say or play. And, it's not the same when you walk out and you don't, it's half filled or whatever, and the energy just isn't the same. And I think it really does affect the musicians.
I think this also, when this, I don't know if the word juxtaposition works here, but when you have a soloist mixed in with the big ensemble pieces, it's always so cool to me. If you had nothing but solo, it wouldn't be the same thing.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, not to segue, but that's why I love the concerto that Kristin's going to play this weekend, because and you should play for us soon. But the opening is just cello. She just plays the opening, and then the orchestra joins in, and then it goes from that juxtaposition of solo playing to everyone playing.
That is a good segue. Are you ready? Yeah. She's got her cello here, and so are you going to play the opening that you just?
Yeah, I'll just start right from the beginning. Right.
Oh, cool.
It's just me by myself. So,
wow. Okay.
And while you're getting ready, I'll tell our audience a little bit about the piece. So it's called the Jamestown Concerto for Cello and Orchestra by William Perry, and he wrote it in 2007 as a celebration of the 400 years of Jamestown, which was founded in 1607. So each movement, it's got 5 movements, deals with a little different version of the first movement is where they land, the second movement's building their settlements, the third movement may be the long winter, and then the fourth movement's Pocahontas in London, stuff like that. So anyways,
wow.
It looks like
All
she's
right.
ready.
So we be quiet and we let you play.
All right. There you go, and then the orchestra comes in.
Man. Oh man, we wanted to hear more.
Yeah.
Now that high note, that was as high as you could go on that, wasn't it? Or am I wrong?
Show them the mechanics.
I mean, wow.
It's a very interesting instrument. So play your lowest.
I mean, you put your finger as far as it could go on there, right?
So here's the cello is so cool because you can play very, very low, and you can also play,
Oh, you can go higher than the board. Oh wow!
I mean,
oh wow!
Yeah, basically wherever your finger is, just like it's similar to guitar, but your finger can act as that stop.
Yeah,
so
it's
really cool.
Wow, that was beautiful.
And you have no frets on there. I've never been this close to a cellist before.
No frets.
And the way your fingers were moving on your left hand, I mean, you were just flying. That is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely
That was
beautiful.
awesome.
How do you know how to? Way up. Where to put your fingers and get it right every time.
How do you know?
Lots of practice. I mean, when I first started in 4th grade, a lot of beginners and for violin, viola, bass, cello, they all have tapes around where the first position is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put little adhesive tapes on it so they can kind of visually see and kind of gain that muscle memory of where home base is, which is first position. Mm-hmm. And then as you evolve, you explore different positions and you kind of work your way up the neck and get higher and explore second position, third position, fourth position.
That's cool.
So.
And you made it sound like it was more than one person playing.
Yeah.
Those are called double stops, is when you play 2 notes or multiple notes at the same time.
Wow.
So,
there's a lot of that in this concerto, I feel like. A lot of those double stops.
Mm-hmm.
Are there? Let's take a phone call from a listener, and you should be able to hear them in your headset. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. That reminded me of the violin opening to the on the trail section of Grand Canyon Suite.
Yeah, the Freddie Groffet Grand Canyon Suite. No, and this piece has a lot of that. I think we described it as cinematic flair in our programming, because it definitely, you feel that. You can see the settlers, just like in Grofe's piece. You can feel the Grand Canyon and the river
wow.
and all that stuff. It's great.
Well, have a good morning, all.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks for the call.
Appreciate
So now, do you come in and out during that entire piece? Do you do the solo, then the orchestra comes in, and then you do another solo in different movements?
They have interludes between each movement. There's 5 movements, and there's an interlude between each. The first one is just me. For the rest of the piece, I'm accompanied by orchestra, so that's the only time that it's just me playing.
Yeah.
That was really loud too, by the way. I mean, that thing can get loud, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you ever hear yourself? I mean, how do you do that? I guess you'd have to record yourself, obviously.
Yeah, it's different actually when you're playing. You don't hear quite the same as when you're sitting in front of the cello or when you're sitting in the audience, because your ear's in a different place, literally, and it's just it's just the tone is different. And so a lot of times while I'm practicing, I will set my phone across the room and hit the record button, just record myself, just so I can hear from the other side, what it's sounding like.
Who's the composer again?
William Perry.
William Perry.
Yeah, he's still alive,
Okay.
and I think he was born in 1929 or 32. I can't remember. But anyways, but he lives in Connecticut. And he's a great composer. He was actually wanted to come to our show, but the same weekend he's got a trumpet concerto being premiered in Cincinnati and another concerto in Dallas.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome if he could come?
Yeah.
Is that extremely rare to have the composer actually at the show?
Well, most of them have been dead a few hundred years, so
that would make it weird.
It's a little weird, but
they might be there. You never know.
Yeah, they could be, but it is rare. We've had the pleasure of having our friend Evan, who's written a few pieces for the orchestra, be with us and stuff. But yeah, it is rare, and it's valuable when you can do it.
This is a special treat, actually. Are you planning on playing something else in your visit today?
Would you like to play anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay, because I don't want to take it all up with talking when you're here.
No, keep talking.
I'd like to hear at least one more thing. Can we hear just one more thing? Do you have a favorite? Oh, you're not prepared?
I'm really prepared.
Oh man. There's a big piece of sheet music right there, no?
I do have my score. I did bring this if you need to look at anything.
Hold on, let me get the phone. Right. We won't push you. I know the feeling. We don't want to push. Good morning. We had a juggler in here one time. Wouldn't juggle.
Yeah.
So would you please throw the balls a little bit? I'm not prepared. I'm sorry.
I can juggle if you've got balls. I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Right now.
I got that on tape, Matthew. All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Being an accomplished cellist, as you are, would you have any difficulty being able to pick up a violin and playing it with basic ease?
I actually begun my musical journey on violin in 3rd grade. So I played violin for a year, and then I switched to cello when I was 9. So I every now and then I pick it up just to fool around. I used to play violin, and I can play Twinkle and Twinkle Twinkle.
Yeah, which of the 2 instruments would you say is the most difficult?
Oh, out of all the musicians of
violin and cello.
Oh, out of violin and cello.
Yeah.
They each have reasons why one is more difficult, or why one can be more difficult than the other at different times.
Yeah.
Violin, I see it as very difficult because the notes are so much closer together than on the cello. So you move your finger a millimeter and it's a different note, and it's a different sound. So I find that very difficult. And then yet a violinist could probably look at a cello and say the notes are so far apart, you have to stretch your fingers so much to get to that next note.
Well, for sure, we know one thing, that the violin is much easier to carry around.
Absolutely.
And she's got a cool case for this cello, by the way. It looks like, what did we say it looked like? Some
Stormtrooper.
A Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
All right. So before we hear any more, Maestro Matthew Wardell and Kristin Wardell, his beautiful wife, are in the studio with us right now. How long have you guys been married?
19 months.
Yeah.
19 months. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't. It took me a little longer to think of exactly how many months. I was going to say like a year and a half.
Doesn't matter. As long as you don't forget, that's all that matters. As long as you don't forget. Let's see. The show that they are here to promote is the Ocala Symphony Orchestra presentation of A Brave New World. And it's coming this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and this Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Ocala Burrito Sales Auditorium. And Kristin Wardell is the featured soloist for William Perry's Jamestown Concerto. Robin put these notes here so I know what I'm talking about here.
Sounds good.
This sounds awesome. Now, does the audience have the story?
They will, yeah, in their program, and I'll talk a little bit about it. And the rest of the concert, we're also doing Dvorak's New World Symphony, which is a great piece about the from the Dvorak wrote when he was in New York. And then we have a friend who's going to conduct and the orchestra with his own piece of music, which will be very interesting. But the audience they'll have all that information in front of them. I talk before the thing. I talk during the thing. I talk too much. I talk the whole time. We never play music. It's just me talking.
What does your lapel button say?
Oh, this is our little. Thanks for asking. For your viewers that can see, it's it's the facade of the City Auditorium. So
okay.
So we give these out to anyone who donates even a quarter.
Quarter.
We'll have 1 million of these at our thing, and I'll give you mine. It's all.
No.
There you go.
All right, with one more phone call, then we're going to hear some more. Oh no. What did you decide?
We might hear some more.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Maybe.
I think you have to come to the concert.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm just wondering if you guys ever played jazz. I know there was a harpist that plays jazz, and that, I thought, how can you play jazz on a harp? You talk about a stringed instrument.
Sure.
But it was really phenomenal to hear. And one of the other things is, we all heard of Lenny D. He plays jazz on the organ.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if there was a group of stringed instruments that get together to play jazz, I guess, more or less for their own sessions, their
Sure.
own amusement and jam sessions. I'll hang up and listen to your answers.
Okay, thanks for the question, and that's a great question. We do play some jazz. Now, I say that with some trepidation because we a jazz musician, they have so many skills that sometimes classical musicians don't have, the improvisation skills and all that stuff. So when we play jazz, it's typically not the free-form jazz. It doesn't allow for the improvisation that a trio might or a saxophone quartet or something like that. But we do have, there's a lot of transcriptions of jazz tunes that are written for orchestra. If you think about a composer like Leonard Bernstein, I mean, so much of his music was jazz influenced, and in there you can't escape it. So it's there.
Right.
And then, but we do a lot of things like that. I'm trying to think of there's some really good arrangements of any of the like Duke Ellington tunes. All that stuff has been arranged for orchestra. So we do it, maybe just not the same way that someone who's truly trained in jazz, because that takes just as much training in a different way to be a jazz musician than it does to be a classical musician.
Absolutely,
it's an incredible field.
And I've always liked when genres kind of meet together.
That's great.
You have maybe a jazz quartet or something and a string section that kind of supports what they're doing, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right. Like Joshua Bell, I know, has put out an album with Bella Fleck, which is like a bluegrass.
Yeah, and Yo-Yo Ma too. Yo-Yo Ma's on that.
And Yo-Yo Ma, yeah.
Oh, we love him.
He does a thing with Bella Fleck, and they do bluegrass and stuff like that together. So it's really cool.
When you first heard his name, did you think, no, it's Yo Mama, not Yo-Yo Ma?
Exactly.
It is refreshing, Kristin, to hear that you said earlier that you would pick up the violin just to mess around. So does that mean you do that on the cello, and do you just freeform and just start to compose things?
I'll play around when I'm warming up, or if I just feel in the mood. But I'm not a composer by any means, and it takes real talent to be able to improvise. It sounds like that doesn't make sense, but it takes a lot of practice to improvise. It really does.
It does make sense.
So I really admire those that can do that.
Well, thank you both for coming in. That was a real treat.
Thanks, Larry.
What a tease, too, man. Just a little tiny bit. Wow.
OcalaSymphony.com. There you go.
OcalaSymphony.com. And wow, and you worked all night long at the hospital, huh?
Not last night. The night before I did, and I have to work tonight, so I have to go back to.
So I think I told Matthew the story, and I know we have to run, but real quickly, one time when I used to work for the state, I took a kid who was incarcerated, and I was kind of his guard at night while he was in the hospital, and the emergency room was just active. People running in and out, bloody heart attacks. It was like, holy mackerel! I felt like my contribution to this world is so little compared to what these people do, what you do in the health field, right? And then when it was all settled down, guess what I heard the doctors talking about? The newest album they bought.
Right.
I heard this.
Right.
Oh,
It's a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, I love that I have been able to keep up with music and go forth with my career in nursing, because I love both very much, and they're very opposite careers. You know, you use one side of the brain for the other, but I'm so lucky that I've been able to do both.
That's why God gave you two sides, right?
Right.
You are as sweet as can be. Matthew, you hit the
Thank you,
jackpot
sir.
with Kristin.
I know, very lucky.
Matthew Wardell, you are a friend, and it's an honor to be able to say you are. Kristin, thank you for coming in, and good luck on Saturday, Sunday. And, Robin will be in New York, so this was her only time she gets to hear you.
That's right.
Oh, you're in New York both days?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe I could convince you guys to busk this weekend. Next time.
Oh my gosh.
Next time.
At the concert?
Yeah, in front of it. Well, what about on the 24th? We're at the Marion Theater.
Maybe.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, we
in
can
front
do
of the
it.
Marion Theater?
Robin?
Okay, we'll put it on
All
our
right, we
calendar.
just said yes.
24th,
the
Thursday.
24th. Okay,
That was easy.
we'll be there.
That was easy, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Matthew and Kristin, thank you both so much. We need to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Fredericks Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Fredericks Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Fredericks